Today we have an open mic, and I'd like to pose a question. What has stuttering taught you? And I'll go first. Stuttering taught me two things. The first is the power of resilience. After going through every stuttering treatment program in the world, nothing worked or only gave me temporary fluency. I didn't lose hope because I knew there were PWSs out there who completely overcame stuttering and came out on the other end. People like John Harrison and Ruth Mead. So finally, I discovered Coach Lee's neuroscience method and was able to eliminate my stuttering in 6 months and achieve natural permanent fluency. It was a defining moment of my life, and after overcoming it, I felt like I could achieve anything in my life. The second thing that stuttering taught me was that most people are kind. After delivering my disastrous first speech in college, in which I blocked on every single word, most of my classmates were very patient and understanding about my speech impediment and gave me ample time whenever I had to speak up in class. In another instance, me and another friend Kyle were playfully arguing about something in our dorm, and he started mocking my stuttering a bit. And all our other friends around us immediately pointed out to him and said, Kyle, that was inappropriate for you to do so. And he apologized. Finally, in 2013, in my darkest days, when I failed interview after interview due to my stuttering, my friend Jason introduced me to a great job opportunity at an internet company and also let the hiring manager know about my speech impediment before my interview. It's those moments when I was at my lowest point in my life that I truly felt the warmth of human kindness and compassion.
That's a great question. Honestly, there are also two things that come to mind. The first one is patience. My God, I am so patient. Listen, stuttering requires you to be patient with yourself as well, because you, of course, know what to say, but something, yeah, just doesn't come out. And you got to be patient in every therapy you do, in every program, because it all takes time. And it just teaches you, um, I think for me, it has really taught me to be patient in a lot of aspects of life. And also related to that is empathy, because I have worked as a social worker, and I've worked mostly with people with disabilities. And I absolutely love it because it it requires a lot of patience and it doesn't, yeah, I have ample resources of it. And I've I felt that every time I've worked with somebody, especially if they also have some kind of speech disability or whatever you want to call it, they've really appreciated that someone actually took the time to listen, to actively listen and get to the bottom of what they actually want to say and don't just resort to kind of guessing or finishing their sentences. Of
Right.
course, no stutter would ever finish another person's sentence because they know how terrible it feels. Um, I could go on, but those are two of the main key things that come to mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, patience and empathy. Those were also qualities I learned, right? Well, patience for me, like I have to be patient to get my message across, and also the other person also has to be patient in in actually hearing the message, and also empathy, because um, yeah, it taught me to be more empathetic towards disabilities, even because stuttering is a disability. Well, it's a condition that's lesser well known, so people are like, it's something that people don't understand it. So sometimes if I'm fluent or disfluent, they don't understand as much. But yeah, it really opens your mind to opens your eyes to what kind of the conditions other people are dealing with. So thank you for the remark.
So, what
Thank you.
stuttering has taught me? It taught me to face my fears with grace. At least, maybe prior to joining this program, I wouldn't have told the same way I just did. But after joining this program, I truly feel that stuttering has liberated me in many aspects, right? So now that I'm able to help people who have same problem, it's so rewarding. So when I sleep at night, I have this heart full of, happiness, and then I go to sleep that I actually, maybe changed a little portion of someone's life, right? So that gives me a lot of happiness. And of course, during my stuttering days, I'm really proud of myself because every single day I would treat that as a new day, right? And again, I would, scratch the braveness from the little ones that is left, right? I used to like scratch that, and then go ahead facing that day with a lot of confidence, though it is a pretend confidence. So and then, I would learn a lot of new words. If I get stuck on a word, I would always have substitutions. So I would learn new words, and yeah, and in that way, stuttering has kind of, helped me to be resilient. And yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, every fear has made me stronger, and in the end, stuttering didn't break me; it actually built me. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, resilience definitely one of the qualities that I learned as well. And also, like what you said, helping others, right? Like knowing that I actually made someone's life better to be able to give them fluency as a CSS, that also, sort of like gave new definition and meaning to my life. So that's definitely a plus to my life experience. So thank you for that comment and the feedback.
Most events in life is quite tough to define them as a teaching moment or like as something good or bad in absolute terms, like you cannot know about the impact that something has in the moment, because of course at the moment is something that might be a disaster and a tragedy, but then you realize after a week, after a month, after a year, is because of that event that you change something basically, or because of that you are now more resilient, more strong, or it's a thing that allows you to grow and improve, right? i
Right.
think I think the main challenge of having a stuttering is the frustration you feel of knowing exactly what to say, knowing your ideas, your thoughts, everything, and in the moment that you need it the most, it fails you. You know, and the more you want to say it, the less you can say it. And that's something, and it's something that in a sense we have a constant choice in terms of should I speak or not, should I once again put myself in a position of being seen as someone different, strange, etc., or should I just keep quiet and try to be hidden, and life just goes past me. And that's a very tough choice to make, because you expose yourself, to be
Right.
seen by others and judged by others, and it takes a lot of courage to decide, no, you know what, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna do something different to change the outcome. And I think that
Right.
that's a thing that is tough to find in other things in life, right? Because this is a constant choice every day, like every moment. And there's like two choices here. You either like wrinkle and hide away and try to keep silent as much as possible, or you take the bull by the horns and try to change stuff. And I think
Right.
that's what it taught me, and I think is something that scales up in other things in life. Like if I have an issue with a colleague or a client, it's nothing. Like when you actually put in a balance that with the years and years and years of stuttering and being embarrassed and humiliation, frustration, uh, a clash with a colleague is nothing. Like it's something that is peanuts.
Right.
Because we've had to deal with this for since extremely young, you know. So
Right.
I think yeah. So I think it's essentially that, you know, like. And I just want to answer really fast to a point said by Moises about that is something negative and positive. Like, of course, the event itself is negative. Like, you wouldn't want your child to have this because it's a huge burden, right? Like, you wouldn't have a person have a condition because it's a lot of suffering and a lot of burden. But within that, there's a lot of lessons, and there's,
Right.
you know, you either like swim or drown in a sense, you know. And this is the thing that it teaches us to swim and keep going, and then to scale that up in different aspects of life, not just in speech, but also in relationships, work, hobbies, etc.
Thank you for your feedback, Sebastian. Yeah, I think, you definitely made a right remark about it teaches you to make the right choice every time, right? It's like whether in picking the right word or taking the easy way out, picking an easier substitute to say, or, when it comes to like you say in career choices or relationship, you pick the harder option, but it works out better in the long term. And so it sort of teaches you to be making the right choice. And also what you said about maybe a clash with colleagues like peanuts after dealing with something that seems incurable at the moment, right? So I definitely hear you. And I think that's, I personally experienced that too. It's like if after overcoming stuttering, it's like, what else can I not overcome? So that's like the silver lining on everything, right? So thank you.
I wanted to add a couple of things. So, yes, resilience and empathy for sure. I think Noah and Pratusha explained that really well. I would just add to the empathy bit. Somebody once said to me, I went to see a doctor for something, and I remember that in that discussion, I also talked about my stutter and how it was affecting my life. And she said to me that in her profession, she comes across people who are going through so much pain that it is hard for them to function in daily life. So at least, with the condition that I had, I didn't have pain. So I did have a emotional pain, but not physical pain. And I think that really helped me see how there are so many people out there who have so many different problems. And when we are going through our own challenges, it's hard to see what others are going through. We just look at people who are better than us in some way, instead of looking at people who are going through worse situations. And the other thing that I've learned is to look for solutions. I have actively tried to put myself in situations where I can really practice my speech. Even when I didn't have the speech techniques, I would still try to go and speak to people and find ways to make it work. And now that I have the techniques, I'm now finding ways to practice even more. So I'm finding ways where I can go and speak to shopkeepers, and in that process I really want to help all of us, because from my own experience I am seeing where my challenges are, and I want to help those people who really want to put themselves in those difficult situations and practice. So it is that mindset of looking for solutions and not thinking that it's just fear and I have to stop. And it's basically that, yes, at the end of the day, speaking is a skill and I can learn it with practice. I just need to keep going.
Right. Right. Hear what you're saying. Yeah. Thank you for the feedback. I think, definitely like you make a right point about we all have our own, troubles to deal with. And they're not like, it's not like one's lesser or one's greater than the other, just that they're somewhat different, right? It helps to put things into perspective. But like what Noah said, it kind of trivializes things when the health professional said that. So that's why, I think it's not one's lesser or one's greater. I think they're just different. And, to your point about looking for solutions, that's definitely a great way of looking at it. That's what I did when I was trying to overcome my stuttering, just looking for different kinds of solutions, and only Coach Lee's neuroscience method worked. So yeah, definitely focus on the solutions, because what you focus on expands. And if you focus on problem, that'll expand. If you focus on solutions, that'll expand as well. So thank you for that.
What stuttering taught me, the first thing is resilience. One thing I learned from stuttering, if I'm not doing hard, I cannot survive. If I'm not doing every day on my speech, I cannot survive in this world. I must do my best to my speech. I must do. So that gives me more resilience. And I am a person who always removing, who avoiding to speak or something. But now, no, whatever it is, I'll face it. Because what I want is available backside of what I feel it. So that lesson, whatever is I fear, that is the way of I grows and I face it and I win it. So I never give up to any fear. So that is the first thing to me resilient. That is really for me very important. And the second thing, make me good listener. When I listen deeply because I know what they say. Because when I listen very nicely. So that give me, because in my school day, I am the person mostly a listener. So I have skill to listen uh, what they said, what they want to say. So, and the third one make me good questioner, because now I think many things about stutter, why I stutter, why is one. So now I ask everything why. So it make me asking for everything, for every life, or for all the creature. It make me asking what's happening. So it help me to ask everything. So this is the main thing is studying taught me. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Jamal. Yeah, those are three great qualities, resilience, asking questions, and being a good listener. You can argue those are the three stable traits of a good communicator, right? So thank you for your feedback.
So listen,
Thank you,
I
sir.
agree with the answers given thus far. And I'm not going to say them again because we've already heard them all. But unfortunately, stuttering taught me that there are a lot of people with low self-esteem out there. And because they have low self-esteem, they will mock and ridicule and jeer at people that are different than them. Okay. And it taught me that the world is a cruel and kind of nasty place. Okay. That's what it taught me. It taught me that a lot of people are jerks. And jerks is the polite word that I'm using right now because I know this is being recorded for people. So it taught me to be self-reliant. And it taught me to channel my frustration and anger and not being able to express myself fully into looking for solutions. And I found this one and I became fluent. Then I became a coach. And because of that, a lot of my anger has dissipated. All right. But I still have a chip on my shoulder, like I do. And it also taught me like self-reliance, meaning I don't like to work with groups of people. Just give me the task. I'll do it by myself. I don't need someone's advice or input. Just give me the task. I'll do it myself. So But that being said, I have come across some people that have good hearts. You know, it wasn't all bad, but like, I don't know, growing up for me, maybe it's different for you guys, but for me, it just showed me how cruel that people can be. And I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. I wouldn't. And so that's what taught me. Anyways, I'm going to stop. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback, Steve. Yeah, I definitely feel your pain because I certainly encountered that kind of, that kind of experience as well. I would say like most of the mocking and the teasing, most of them happen in middle school and high school. By the time college rolled around, most people hopefully, they either develop some kind of inner conscience or outer external socialization to understand, that kind of behavior is like inappropriate, or there might be some like still existing. I just ignored or overlooked it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's certainly you know in the past when neurodivergence wasn't as well accepted, different modes of communication wasn't as well accepted, and stuttering is the kind of condition in which it's not very well understood. People don't classify it as a obvious disability, right? So I definitely hear what you're saying and feel your pain, and yeah, self-reliance. That's also one of the qualities that taught me. It's doing being able to complete everything by myself, even speech related. So thank you for the
Yeah.
feedback.
Well, hold on. I'm just going to take a quick moment here. But
Of course.
like middle school, yeah, it was kind of bad. High school, yeah. But really, it was bad in college. And when I went and I was working for a living, like I actually experienced it more in the real world than I did in school growing up. You know, because I worked a lot of sales jobs and, a lot of salespeople and, they're jerks. Anyways, I just want to say that. I'm going to stop, give my time back to the rest of the room. So thanks.
I love Steve. I've known him a long time, and I agree with him on most of his comments. Self-reliance, of course, is such a great quality. But I would say this that carrying anger or a chip on your shoulder is going to hurt you more than the other folks. Um, what wins in the end is love. It's the one force that can't be beaten. And the more you stick with it and ignore what you get to the contrary, the sooner you're going to get love back. But if you carry anger and a chip, that's what you're going to get back. And you're too smart for that. You know what I'm saying is true. And you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know who you are. You know who you're trying to become. That's all that matters. And my money's on you. Dong.
Thank you, Coach Lee.
Yes. So first of all, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak my mind. I do agree with what everyone has said so far, including Steve. And stuttering has really been a humbling experience for me. It has reminded me not to think too highly of myself than I ought to. But along with stuttering, as Steve kind of mentioned, it did bring a lot of rejection and a lot of low self-esteem for the majority of my life. But I will say what overcoming stuttering has taught me is that there is a solution to every problem, first of all, and that you don't have to succumb to fear. You don't have to let fear control you or rule your life, and that you can still do hard things even if you're fearful, and that if you learn how not to let fear be your master and rule over it, you can have the victory at the end of the day. It has also taught me that you can break any habit, regardless of how long you have had that habit. Regardless if you're 70 years old or 7 years old, or somewhere in between, you can overcome it. And it has taught me of the power of retraining your mind to breaking those habits, and just how influential negative thoughts can really be, and how much it can hinder your progress and hinder your growth. So it has also taught me the importance of believing in yourself and in your abilities to overcome. And it has taught me the power and the influence that a supportive and encouraging community can have on a person. And then lastly, it has taught me that you don't have to live with low self-esteem for the rest of your life. You can improve your life as much as you want. As much as you want. And the only one that is limiting yourself is you. It's you. You are the barrier here. And once you can learn how to take control of your mind and take control of your habits, you can have the victory. So thank you for this opportunity and for your time.
Thank you, Raquel. Those are very insightful words. Yeah, you were very fluent, totally fluent, and I think, it's definitely, you definitely made a right remark about, there's nothing to fear except for fear itself, right? As Coach Lee has said, the fear of stuttering is not fear. Now that you are a PWSS, the next phase is to defeat fear, just simple fear of speech, just simple, speech anxiety, and aim to become the best speaker in your peer group. And I definitely think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that stuttering is just a habit that can be retrained, as this program attests, like every person from every walk of life and every age can adopt the neuroscience method and find fluency almost instantly, just in 30 days or 60, right? So it's definitely a habit that can be retrained and stopped if you put the heart to it. So thank you for those remarks.
Now I actually wish I went first opposed to Raquel, because how am I supposed to have a response like that? But I'll definitely try. So I'm not going to give the cliche answers, even though they've all been brilliant today. So I'll change things up a little bit. What stuttering has taught me is that now I enjoy reading aloud, because before I barely did any reading aloud. I think I probably owned 3 books until I joined this program 3 years ago. Now I literally have a closet full of books. So if one thing stuttering taught me, definitely the joy to read aloud. And on top of that, it's taught me some temporary speech tools to use, especially speaking with so much enthusiasm and passion, and definitely slowing down my speech by incorporating short increments and full stops. But more importantly, the single greatest takeaway from this entire program and what has stuttering really taught me is the beauty about mind training. And I know we as stutterers, we have this, negative attitude, always putting ourselves down, always telling ourselves, we can't do this or that. But with mind training, it has completely elevated my life in ways I never thought possible. And to everyone here, just like Coach Lee says, when you overcome this nonsensical habit, because that is all stuttering is, never stop giving yourself daily mind training treatments. Take all your speech affirmations out and start incorporating some personal ones that you want to work on next in life. So just to wrap up everything, what stuttering taught me, definitely the joy of reading aloud, the joy of using some speech tools, but more importantly, mind training. So keep doing your mind training, because again, it's just going to elevate your life in ways you never thought possible. You will become a more self-confident and more self-assured person, and you will never react negatively towards your speech ever again.
I'm like you, I think I had like a lot more books, but I just never read them. So I might as well just had 3 books. And after joining the program, start reading those books aloud. So I started actually reading the books I bought like from 30 years ago. So
Before I joined the program, I was lazy and I use it to expect that other things, other people would do the hard way for me. And by overcome stuttering, I started to accept the fact that I need to have more responsibility in life. What do I mean by that? We have to accept that life is unfair, and most problems in life we do not create. It's external factors. However, it's really rare the cases where these same external factors solve our problem. So it's not fair to fix something that is not your fault. However, this is life, and uh, accept the inconvenient steps, accept that it will be uncomfortable, and I think I can link what I'm saying to what Jamal from Kuwait said, resilience. And it's pretty much accept the ugly August. I mean, accept the inconvenient things that you always knew you had to do, though you haven't done it yet because you feel uncomfortable, you feel anxious. However, the moment you realize that facing these things is the only way that you will reach what you want in life, is pretty much a responsibility, in my opinion.
Thank you, Miguel. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And I think, acceptance definitely is something I learned like, because in the beginning, I also thought it's not fair. Like when everybody could communicate fluently, I was just stuck with this, right? And then I think I read a saying, change what you can control and accept what you cannot. So to me, it's not so much acceptance, but more like one is accepting me for who I am, but at the same time, striving towards better. So that's why I was started looking for other, stuttering treatment programs to help resolve this. And I stumbled upon the neuroscience method. So it's both, accepting yourself, but also striving for better because I knew I could communicate fluently. So thank you for the feedback.
So yeah, so because of stuttering, we have gone through some pains and suffering in life. So
Right.
definitely stuttering taught me to have compassion and kindness not only towards others but also towards me. So life is a field where we all have wars. It is actually a battlefield. Each of us, we are fighting so many battles every day to survive and all. So it's a reminder that be kind. So we have to have that attitude of kindness towards others and towards us. In general, I have felt I was mocked in school and all, but later on in my life, because of stuttering, I was never mocked. Even though I was in meetings and I blocked severely, but my manager or some higher ups, they supported me. By bringing some comment or some dialogue, they immediately lifted me up. So I could see how people are so nice and so kind. Even if
Right.
I am blocked, I am facing this challenge, but by manager or some VP, he will immediately say something and his dialogue or his presence will make me fluent. So people are like generally supportive. That's what I
Right.
felt. Stuttering has taught me that you have to face your fear, you have to prepare, you have to plan. So as I have told, there are important meetings and I plan for them. It's like a World Cup final for me. I plan, I prepare. Those shows that we see, those seem so easy and all. Thousands of hours of preparation goes behind those shows. So life
Right.
has taught me that you have to plan, you have to be disciplined. Nothing comes in a short term. You have to put your effort. If you want something good, you have to be disciplined enough. And finally, it has taught me how to win over your mind. So if you can win over your mind through stuttering, you can win over other challenges that you have. So either you put your focus on your challenges or you put your focus on the solution. And wherever you put your focus, that part of your life expands. As you believe, as you think, universe will respond in a similar way. If you think of problem, problem will grow. If you think of solution, solution will grow. So it's important where your focus is. Thank you.
Thank you, Vish. Those are very wise words, and I especially like when you said that, you found your colleagues to be, your supervisors to be very supportive. I think, both spectrums exist, nice supportive people, and also there's some mocking from mean-spirited. If they're actually mean-spirited, that's more of a reflection of them than upon, the PWS themselves, I think. Whereas supportive people, they're just kind in nature, right? And your last remark about the universe response, that's actually what I read about the law of attraction, which is, self-help stable, right? Whatever you think about comes to fruition. So thank you.
So earlier my stammer was, yes, very severe one. Sometimes it took around 1 minute to say a single sentence. But after I came in contact with the Coach Lee, I came to learn that I need to be the persistent and be the consistent with what I'm doing. So as also mentioned by Danny, I started doing the reading every day. So earlier I was not fond of doing the reading, but I started the reading earlier for 15 minutes. And for nowadays, I at least read for around 45 minutes. And I have lots of the books into my room. And it's just mainly based on the mind, on the subconscious thing, on the habit. So stammering has taught me to be more consistent and be in the discipline mode so that we can be following the things and be strict to what we have decided to do. Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Ankit.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great that you increase your reading aloud from 15 minutes to 45. I'll say the 1, 2, 3 punch has definitely helped me to one, become fluent, and two, maintain my fluency over these years. So keep up with that. Thank you for your feedback.
There's been some positives with, this journey of ours. There's definitely has been everything people have said about resilience. That's totally a huge one for me. Mine, I'm thinking more about what I kind of wish I'm hoping to get out of it still. And I'm hoping I get out of it more able to kind of get better with mind training, because I know it has already helped. It made me more aware, of my thinking patterns. But sometimes I'm so I feel like I'm dysregulated sometimes, and it's hard to kind of, focus and snap myself out of it. But ironically, I've been in pretty stressful environments and I've done well, But one thing I can say positively, and this is what I was thinking too, maybe even like a talk or a discussion about kind of mind training and how people kind of go about it. That'd be pretty awesome. But I'll to say one for me, catching my thought patterns when it comes to saying no to things. I'm able to say yes to things a lot. I'm able to, go work out and do a lot of hard work. But can I resist the cookie, or can I resist, that negative thought? It's kind of difficult. So I just hope I can get more mind training ability, I guess, and that's kind of my hopes, and that's all I wanted to share.
So for me, what stuttering has taught me was to first solve a problem, you have to understand the problem. Because a lot of us, we don't understand stuttering. We don't. So when I understood it, because I was always thinking it was just a pill and everything just go away. So it doesn't work like that. So what stuttering taught me was consistency, repetition. You have to beat everything you will learn in this course into your mind, your subconscious. You have to beat it down. Repetition. So you have to do it and do it and do it until it becomes part of you. So like what Chris was saying, you have to get out of your own head. Because I was the same way. I was thinking in my head, oh, is this gonna work? Will I block? Just follow the course through. Use the mind training, use the crutches, use everything that is in this course. Don't worry about it. Consistency will be boring until you see the results that is going to yield. And I promise you, once the results start coming in, you won't even be thinking about your speech. You will be thinking about something else when you speak. Because I was worse than you when I started back in 2025. I was worse. So I know how you can get all caught up in your own head thinking, oh, okay, the fear. Sometimes the things we fear is not real. I've been in a situation where I was so worried and the answers were just right there. So I was worried sick for 2 days. And then I asked myself, like, what is the point of staying worried for 2 days only for me to find out that it was just one small thing that I have to switch over to make it work? So I just worried for 2 days for nothing. So my question to myself was, why not just put in time and do the work, do everything that it takes, everything that has been instructed on the app, and just let time be the judge? I can promise you, Chris, just stay consistent. That's all you need. Consistency. Just follow the process. Read the book, put in your passion when you speak. Even if you hit a block, find out the situation that surrounded that, what you could have done better. So don't stay there and be thinking about it and be thinking, no, don't do it. For me, this StopStutter organization taught me consistency, repetition. You have to beat it down into your subconscious. That's what I did, to the point where I don't even think about my speech anymore. I just laugh and carry on. So when people talk, I wasn't able to look at them in the eye. Right now, I'm just looking at you in the eye, trying to listen now to what you're saying. Well, opposed to me before, I'll be thinking, oh, how am I going to be able to reply to them? What am I going to say? Will I stutter? No, I'm listening to what you're saying and thinking of a way to answer you, in my own calm way and mind. That's it.
Years ago, a beautiful poem was posted on Facebook by a girl whose name I have forgotten. It was written by her uncle at her request to celebrate National Stuttering Day. Its message surely salves the open wounds that plague so many stutterers. It also happily proves that classic, metered, rhymed poetry is far from dead, and that its resurgence could awaken the human kindness that permeated literature in the Renaissance. I find this poem, captioned Silent Words, irresistibly poignant and loving, a masterpiece for which I thank its author and his niece. It reads as follows: Silent Words by Alan Pritchard. Behind the smiles, behind the tears, are silent words that no one hears. Conversations well thought out, but censored through my pain and doubt. So much of who is really me that most will never chance to see. From thoughts to words, there's compromise, and speech becomes an enterprise. Stuttering is not my choice. I really have a lovely voice. But words too often bond with dread, and then so much is left unsaid. I know quite well what I would say, though it may not always sound that way. If you judge me by my speech alone, the loss you face will be your own. There's much more to me than meets the ear. There's someone special living here.
That was a beautiful poem. Thank you, Coach. It's now time to close our meeting. I hope that you enjoyed exchanging thoughts with ex-stutters and those fast becoming ex-stutters. I will now end with our motto. If you can say one word anywhere, anytime, you can say and love to say any word, anywhere, anytime. Until next Saturday, have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you.
Great
Bye-bye
seeing
now.
everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys.
Unlock your voice with StopStutter.